What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the BMW today, and this is actually going to be the start of a new series where I remove the engine and replace the timing chain and reinstall everything back as it was. Okay then, so as many of you guys know, I'm currently sat in my 2008 BMW 520d with the N47 engine. And it is very common on this engine for the timing chain to fail, so that is the reason that I'm going to be replacing it before that happens. Now obviously it is a very lengthy process because it involves taking the engine out, but in this video I'm just going to be removing the wiring loom and the intake manifold from the engine, because I'm very interested to see what the inside of the intake manifold looks like. I'm pretty certain it's going to be full of an oily, sooty mess from the EGR and the crankcase breather, sending that oil vapors back through the intake. Okay then, so I want to make this as detailed as possible. I want you guys to know which nuts and bolts that you need to remove. So without further ado, let's get outside and let's get cracking. Alright then guys, so first thing we are going to do is basically remove any plastic trims and any covers which will stop us from removing the intake manifold itself. Obviously first thing is first, we will just take the engine cover off. And the intake manifold is actually placed on the right side of the engine, looking into the engine bay. It's this plastic thing right here. It's in between the rocker cover and the alternator. It's obviously covered with a whole bunch of sensors and things like that, which we will need to take off. But first thing we're going to do is remove these filter boxes at the back here. These are the micro filters for the air, you know, going into your vents and everything. So yeah, so we're going to whip these off. Just pull this piece of weather stripping off. This just slides over. There we go, and this basically locks these two panels together. Okay then, so next thing to do is we need to remove these air filter boxes. Basically all you need to do is pop this clip down like so, and then there is a 13mm fastening nut which you just need to turn. Then this whole box should just pop out. There we go. Let's just remove this one as well. Obviously no sensors on this side. Okay then, so next thing we need to do is remove this scuttle panel itself. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these little fastening clips that we just need to undo. And then there is actually these two little trim pieces which should just pull out either side as well. Like so. Okay, so along with turning these fasteners, just remember you also have to undo these little torque screws as well. Just down there, it's a T25. Alright, so once you have removed these three fasteners and then the torque screw, it should just pull out. Okay, and so I'm also going to be removing the strip brace as well. To be honest, I'm not really sure if it impedes taking out the intake manifold, but it is going to be something that I have to remove, you know, to eventually take the whole engine out anyway. So it's just a case of undoing these 4 bolts, obviously 2 in the middle, 1 either side, T45. Should just lift out then. Okay then, so next thing we're going to do is just remove this sound deadening at the back that will give us access to the full intake manifold. So it's basically just a case of lifting these clips up. I'll take them out. This just lifts off then. So the next task to do, I've moved pretty much everything I need to now to get access to the intake manifold, apart from the intake pipe which goes from the intercooler to the intake manifold. The next task I'm going to do is just attempt to remove most of these electrical connectors. It's going to be a pretty big task because it means, you know, unplugging all the injectors, various different sensors, the sensors that go to the EGR and everything. But once I've unclipped all of them, I'm just going to fold the whole wiring loom over that way, and then hopefully we can get onto the bolts for the intake manifold itself. Okay, that's both of them free. Okay then, so on the left side of the engine there is an extra piece of plastic trim which holds a lot of different electrical connectors, namely the DPF sensors, the O2 sensors and everything, mainly all the exhaust sensors. And there is actually 3 bolts holding it in. There is one there, one down there, and I believe one at the back here. I'm going to remove them. I've already went ahead and disconnected most of these sensors, so it should pretty much come undone then. I've only just got one here, which I believe is the pressure sensor. I'm going to see how that removes once I remove this whole trim piece. Okay, so I've taken all the bolts out for this little bracket here. I'm actually just going to pull this pressure pipe off this sensor, just under the Jubilee clip. Should just pull off. There we go. And we can lift all this up now. Okay then, so with this all disconnected over here, all the sensors disconnected, pretty sure we just need to undo this branch from the intake manifold. This is 2 10mm bolts, one there, unplug the map sensor, and then I'm pretty sure this should all just come off then, but we'll soon find out. Just going to go ahead and take the map sensor out with this loom. There we go. We've got a vacuum line attached. Let's cut that zip tie. There we go. And that should now give us enough room to remove the intake manifold. Okay, so before I go ahead and attempt to remove the intake manifold, firstly I'm going to remove the charge pipe from the intercooler to the anti-shudder valve. Then I need to also remove this as well, this intake temperature sensor. Basically, to remove this charge pipe, we need to do is pop that little clip off, and it should just pull off then. That should actually be enough clearance, so we'll just pop it off there. Okay, and so to get this manifold off, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and with those 5 bolts out, well, out as far as they'll go because they don't actually come out all the way, you should be able to remove this intake manifold. I say should because it might be pretty stuck, and I believe mine is pretty stuck because it doesn't want to budge. So I'm a little bit hesitant to put anything between this and the cylinder head because I don't want to mark the cylinder head, because obviously it's only aluminium, so it's very soft metal. So I think I'm going to try and wiggle this back and forth and see if we have any success doing that. Okay then, so finally the intake manifold is removed. It's finally been removed from the cylinder head, and it was very stuck on. I'm pretty sure these gaskets, the intake manifold gaskets, sealed the manifold to the head itself. And I think that made it a bit more difficult. Also, I think when I was pulling from side to side, I think the bolts was like dropping back into the hole and, you know, making it difficult as well. But there is actually one more connector that you need to unplug that goes to the anti-shudder valve, which basically looks like a throttle body, but it's not. And that's that connection there. You can't really get to it from underneath, you know, while it's still in place. It's best to just lift this up, fold it over, and then disconnect it that way. And then this can just be removed now. Okay then, so while the intake manifold is removed, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you what the intake ports look like. As you can see, pretty black and nasty, just filled with oil and soot. We'll be attempting to clean them out at some point. But at the moment, that is this job done. We have removed the intake manifold. Obviously, we'll be giving it a good clean out, but for the meantime, I'm just going to block these up with some tissue paper, and then we will be putting the bonnet down, and that will be it for today. Okay then, so that is the intake manifold completely removed. I will actually be stripping it down and completely cleaning it in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Please give this video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you guys in that next video. Peace!